Alright, Shalom, Shalom, first and foremost. All the praise, all the glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, crack with us. Without any further ado, just want to get into this lesson going into prophecy. I didn't really speak much on prophecy last week. And I still got Daniel 11, the part 4, I think, to finish. But I'm going to go on prophecy right now, at least today. So, Lord's willing, this will be edifying. I actually don't got anything planned, but I'm gonna have to. I'll pause on my way and figure it out. I'll figure it out, and Lord willing, this will be edifying. Matter of fact, we're gonna speak on various prophecies. I think I spoke on the third war in my last prophetic video that I made. But I also took a photo of this photo that I saw somewhere where I was walking, and I was surprised that this was on the wall, because you really don't see, and it's really surprising if you see something out there that has some type of truth to it, especially if it's out here there, like in the public type of thing. And this was like on the wall of the side of in the front of some Harvest Health store. So this was interesting, man. And it basically says, they posted two of them, and basically the same thing. On the bottom it says, in the more little or font, it says, "Make America America Again." And then it says, "First they came for the immigrants, period." And then it says, I said nothing. And I'm guessing this was due to ICE, and this paper's kind of old now. It's pretty faded. It might have had some color to it, I don't know, but it's definitely old. And I'm guessing this was posted up when the ICE thing happened, especially around last year. It's probably a year old. But I was able to catch it through spirit, and it was spiritual. And then on the side, on the bottom, in small photo on the bottom, it's George Orwell. They have put a photo of him there, and the quote is, "If you encourage totalitarian methods, the time may come when they will be used against you instead of for you." George Orwell, English novelist. And I can't read that one. I can't make it out. But basically, yeah. Cause that's definitely going into ICE, and I mentioned it a couple months back, and when I did my research more on that, and I do believe that ICE is, at least for now, they may end up changing it again, because that's what these devils do. They always end up changing it. At first they called it ICE. No, at first they called him, you go back 10 years, they called it, a bit more than 10 years, they called them FEMA troops. They used to call them UN troops. And we know that we already knew back in those times. I didn't, but just how the brothers knew in those times. I wasn't even in the truth yet. So the brothers knew in those times. Even Alex Jones, I've seen those old videos of Alex Jones and those documentaries that he made, where he basically it's talking about the UN troops with the blue hats, and the UN and the white on the blue hat. And they used to call them FEMA troops, and now I don't know what they call them. I'm guessing ICE. I'm guessing they're using ICE as the hidden next police state. It's gonna be rounding people up. And when you look into ICE, and at this point, I don't even think that Esau even needs to use other nationals to be as the ICE agents, aka FEMA troops, aka UN troops. And I'm just speculating, but either way, some way, somehow, there's gonna be officers they're gonna use. They can bring back the UN troops with the blue hats, the old uniforms, or the FEMA troops. or whatever, however you saw it, however Lord Yahweh ultimately is going to make this thing pop off and work out. Yeah, and not to rant too long, but just for edification's sake too, you also had them funding Trump when it's his first year in his office. One of the first things he did, he wasn't even a month in yet. One of the first things that he did was fund ICE with a what was it, a $40 billion budget, just so they can buy buildings and warehouses, giant warehouses, man, where you can fit in millions of people in there, probably a couple 100 million in there, if you just say fuck it and pack them all up in there like sardines if they want to. And the funny thing about it is too, it's no coincidence that each one of those facilities, big ass facilities like Amazon type fucking warehouse facilities, they have trains and shit, train tracks and trains and shit that pass right near there, close to theirs, and that's strategic. All the war, if you know anything about strategy and strategical, whatever the word it is I'm looking for, if you know anything about that, that's military like. And knowing these elites, knowing these devils, yeah, they're devils. They're gonna pull it off. They're gonna pull it off. He's about to pull off the biggest hoax in the centuries and on all his Earth's history. And that's what he's about to do with what's about to pop off. Jeremiah 13:7. The last days grace, and none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. These things are definitely gonna come to pass, man. And so if you don't believe that, well then I don't know. You're not of the elect. This video isn't for you. And the hopeful elect, of course. But yeah, that's George Orwell. And another quote from George Orwell was, when the truth is, when speaking the truth is an act of terrorism. Something. I forgot it. Basically, something along the lines of, you're under a totalitarian government when you speak the truth, and they can kill you for it. They can stomp your teeth out for it with a steel iron boot in your face, basically. And that's what Esau. That's Esau. That's what he's gonna do. We're speaking this truth right now, and then certain of us are gonna be beheaded or put in prison. But if you're tough enough, you're putting on as the elect, you will survive whatever you gotta face in the time to come into. And that's to myself. Whatever the Lord has for me and my lot, going into that, Revelation 2:9, scriptures say it best here. I'll pull this up here. I know that works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. We're rich through the promises, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews. We already know who those are and are not, but are synagogue of Satan. For none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Yeah, that's why they're going to put us in jail. Because we're saying they're not the Jews, and we're saying we are the real Jews. For none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. And who's the devil? We know who the devil is. The so-called white man. The devil means deceiver. Talking about Esau. And there's a spiritual demon Satan, and there's a physical counterpart to the spiritual demon Satan. It's like saying you have, I guess, Satan's like the body, but Esau is more like the brain behind it. Both of them work together. And on a deeper level, ultimately, I hate to say it, but because Esau's gonna hate me for it, but and the flesh gets scared. But I hate to say it, but Yeah, he told ultimately he is deceived. The top elites, they're ultimately deceived. They're being deceived by the Most High. Satan, he's not. He has no free will, and he's under the control and of the Most High Almighty, whose name is Yahweh. His son's name is Yahweh Shai. Those are the names, and you gotta know those names to be saved. If you do not know those names, if you do not, that's why every time they try to come up to camp, I always try to tell them, man, what's the name? What's the name? What's the name? That's one of the first things you teach them. Fuck everything else. Teach them the name. Yahweh Shai, teach them the name first, and then teach them the mark of the beast. And before all that, before all that too, teach them who they're Israelites. Show them one curse. All you gotta do is just get one curse in the scriptures. That's it. They can read all the other rest of stuff. And then, if you really care, if they really care, they're gonna do that because the elect is gonna. The Lord says He shall make the elect of quick understanding. When I first heard this truth, I didn't waste no time in getting this truth, getting this word. I looked all into the books. I read more. I even read more than I was already reading, and I was already reading because I was trying to seek Yahweh Shai, and so on and so forth. Basically, going back to the point, yeah, teach them they're an Israelite. Tell them who the so-called white means their enemy. Then ask them, do you believe that? Do you believe the so-called white means your enemy? If not, this conversation's done. Do you believe the name? Because do you think there is only one name you can be saved by? Or if you don't believe there's only one name, then tell them the name. And then tell them it again. And tell them the name again. And then tell them to say it back so they can actually say the name. To tell them, do you believe in the name or not? Because if you don't believe in that one name, where must be saved, Yahweh Shai, the true Paleo Hebrew, and that goes into Exodus 3 and 15. If you don't believe in that's one's your name, then this conversation is done. You have to get. You already said that Esau's not the devil. That's one strike guard. Then you're saying that's not the name. All right, then just if you don't believe that, then just get the fuck out. Excuse my language. Sorry to say it that way, but yeah, get out. Just get the fuck out, man. We're done after the first and second admonition, right? As the scriptures say, roughly paraphrasing, but going back to the topic. The devil shall cast some of you into prison that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give you a crown of life. Yeah, so this prophesied that certain brothers are going to be put in prison. Certain brothers already had dreams where they were in prison. And they might have had dreams where they were just in prison, and that was it. And then I know me personally, my dream was a bit different. I was in prison, but I had certain dreams where I was in prison. But then brothers came in and saved me, and we flew out of there. They were flying already, and they helped me, gave me power. They gave me power so that I could fly with them, and we just flew out of there and out that prison where they came by to rescue me from. And as far as I know, I'm sure that's pretty much the only dream of other dreams that I had. I'm pretty sure that's the only one dream I had that I remember. But I remember my dreams, all my dreams pretty good. Despite how much alcohol or whatever I drink, it's a gift from Yahweh that He gave me that I'm able to dream a lot and get remember a lot of these dreams that He gives me. So the what I have for that, and that's my own gift. All these gifts we have are all Yahweh Shai. That's why we praise Yahweh Shai. And I just been getting more in the spirit of even when I don't even want to. I force myself to say, Kahalayim Yahweh Shai, Kahalayim Yahweh Shai. And it gets me, also helps me to get more into the spirit, as well as just saying the name Yahweh Shai a lot of times throughout your day. Even when you're at your work. Fuck what they might say about you. They can't read your mind. You said, praise the name. Alright, praise the name. That's our Lord, man. Yahweh Shai, man. That's who we're doing this for. That's who we're dying for every day. That's because everybody's going through the straight gates. Even if you weren't to have this truth, you would still be going through straight gates. But it's good that we're going through these things and we still doing it with Yahweh Shai, with us, man. Yeah, I think that's something I think about all the time, man. That we're going through these straight gates and the other people. That's even more so now that when I'm at work and I have my coworkers there and they don't have Yahweh Shai, so I recognize that even more at times when I can see they're all depressed and sad because they're Jakes too and they're cursed too, and so I'm also depressed and sad and shit. And even the Edomites, man. Even the Edomites, bro. Even the Edomites, I can see them sad and depressed and shit. They're fucked up because Jake is out here smiling and having a good time. They don't even want to see that. But yeah, man. Emma and shit. You know, Edomite woman name that Emma is young little Emma there, all bitter. She's having a grudge, waiting for any little thing that Jake does so that they can end up going and snitching. That's why you gotta really be on point when you're around these Edomites, man. I don't care what it is, bro. They're looking at you. Even just you having your anything they want they're even for your staring, they're gonna pick that. That's why you gotta move wise out here. To your younger brothers is listening, older brothers still to you as well listening. Stay sharp around these Edomites, man. You gotta be wise, because I've been in situations where you gotta learn how to be more circumspect, aware when you're around Edomites compared to when you're really around your own people like that. Because really, Jake is used to having bullshit, dealing with bullshit, so you can kind of get more off on Jake compared to like an Edomite, basically. Because their kingdom's falling and we're rising, man. So they're definitely they ain't gonna like it. But so like if we're getting off topic, still speaking on privacy, getting into that. Come you're also gonna have economic collapse. That's gonna happen soon. I'm gonna pull this up in 2nd Ezra 16. We speak about this each week. Every day, somebody's speaking about this stuff. Whatever it's the third war. Third war is gonna come. There's the famine. The famine's gonna come. And then there's gonna be another famine after the mark of the beast comes. Through the third war. I still remember that dream I had too of Yahweh Bashim Shai who gave me. This was a bit earlier this year. Yahweh Shai blessed me for this dream I had that of Keisha and tearing shit up in Walgreens and other YNs coming in there. Other Keishas running up in there. Most of them just went in there and grabbed shit, take it. One of them, maybe just one or two of them went in there to pull shit down, throwing shit. So, 2nd Ezra 16 and woe be unto the Babylon and Asia, woe be unto the Egypt and Syria. Yo. That's all likened unto all those 4 kingdoms are likened unto modern day Egypt, modern day Babylon, Asia, Assyria. Gird up your sons with claws of sack. That's a metaphor for all the hell that's going to be coming. Sorrow and grief that's going to be coming. You can have so much sorrow and grief to the point where you just sit down and get all depressed and in the dark. gloomy, grievous spirit. Like as the scriptures say, as a day in when the child dieth. Earthly paraphrasing, guard up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair, bewail your children. Yeah, because in the ancient world they would put that on. Cloths of sack meaning some garment that's ugly to represent that, to show the people they're mourning. Then here, bewail your children and be sorry for your destruction is at hand. And notice it says right there in that same verse, bewail your children. Bewail means to crying for, sorrowing for, and it says their children. So a lot of Israelites, moms and dads that have children, they're gonna be crying for their children. They may see their young children dying, their older children dying. Just everybody's gonna be put into a test, into this pressure cooker that's not really pleasing that the Lord is going to put them into. And it's going to be harder for these people that don't have Yahweh Shemashah because they've been basically for the most part comfortable here. I mean, maybe not comfortable because Jake is still fucked up. Jake is still in the curses, but
sure. You want me to help you with your groceries?
Jake is still fucked up. Jake is still through the curses. I'm not saying they're not in the curses, but basically it's like basically we're all in the curses, but basically when you have Yahweh Bashim outside, this truth you hear in it every day, and it's molding, it's still molding our spirits to be in that dark, almost I want to say like in it's really light, but it's really the light of life, but it does in this flesh, it does mold you into that like it makes you to like embrace more, brace yourself more type of spirit where you hear a dark message, because what we're speaking and what we hear is death. It's a time of trouble. Like no, that's not hearing something like that ain't really gonna make you in a state of peace, in a state of yeah, this is my rest. Because in the truth we understand this ain't our rest. This ain't our rest. We understand that Jake might not be in the actual proper spirit, and so that makes us want to leave here more. But compared to Jake's in the world, they may realize that this ain't really it. That this place is fucked up. That Taco Bell was fucked up. Working at Taco Bell was fucked up and shit. But they they fall back asleep with they numb themselves basically with all the shit that's outside Yahweh Bashim outside. Now, when you're with Yahweh Bashim outside Yahweh as our Father, he's grooming us to prepare ourselves for the times we're gonna come into. So instead of going on the game when we come back from work, or texting our girl and all this, giving all our, there's Jakes in the road that worship their girl. They worship their woman. We don't worship our woman. We don't worship any woman, man. We worship Yahweh Shai, but that's the difference. So basically, and when you do that, that's what they also in the world that's known as Stoicism. I mean, you got books like Ecclesiastes, which is written for a reason. The scripture that comes to my mind is a sad face is good for the heart. Better is the end of the matter than the beginning of it. Better is the day of one's death than the day of one's birth. And then the scriptures also say, fear the Lord and keep his commandments. In Ecclesiastes, for this is the whole duty of a man. Fear the Lord, keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of a man. So, what are the commandments? None. To not commit adultery, to not eat pork, And and yeah, just keep that. That reminds us of who our Father is, who our God is, who what our purpose is. When you see pork, someone eating pork, and you remember, oh yeah, I'm glad I have the laws. I know that shit is not right in the eyes of the Lord, man. I'm happy. Call on you, how about some shit? I don't eat pork. I don't do that. I wouldn't want to even touch the shit, but just off because of that's the law of the Father. That's His law, and so that reminds you and it puts a light bulb in your head. Oh yeah, man, I'm a Yashara Allah. I'm a son of Israel, and that subconsciously it does something to you. You remember, oh, I worship a power that's higher than me. I'm not worshiping myself. I'm not even like I just realized I'm not even living for myself. I'm not even all this I ain't even make for myself. And the Sabbath day. That's something that I didn't make that up. I didn't do that. I follow a God that's higher than me. That made me. That reminds me when it comes to when the Sabbath day comes. It also reminds me of the Lord when the Lord made the earth. When the Lord created everything, He made the angels. He made me. He made Yahweh Shai first. Lord, and then right there, I think of Yahweh Shai. I remember Yahweh Shai. I praise Yahweh Bashim Shai. Call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. And that's actually a high vibration right there. That's not no low vibration. That's a high. That's the highest vibration you can be in compared to Jake. Jake gets jealous of that. That's why Jake will have to resort to his weed. I mean that's him. That's whatever. But that's really low vibration. That's what lowers your vibration. And compared to praising one one call Allah Yahweh Bashim Shai is way higher than one 100 blunts. Even just one blunt with the best ganja in that shit, man. That's one of those is very low vibration. One of those is very higher vibration, man. And so call Allah Yahweh Bashim Shai. We got the higher vibration, man. That's the difference between us and those that's of the world. And then on top of it, they're already, if they're Israelites and they're already breaking the laws, let's say they're into the same sex shit. Let's say they're into eating pork, seafood, sea crab, sea boil, gumbo and shit. Those abominations, those creepy crawlers, the bottom feeders of the sea. If they're into that, they're into weed. They're into music with low frequency. It's just the facts, bro. I'm not even just laughing just to be a nigga, but it's just the facts, though. They're into music. NBA young boy, man. NBA young boy. Other street hood music. Definitely called deaf music. They're into that type of music, man. That's what they use, but what an elect brother would use, it's of the truth that's in the truth. We would even when we're just not even, we may not even be listening to a video. We may just be at the work, having to not have headphones on, having to work. Even when we're in that position, we still, it's like this law is in us. We're the memorial of the Lord. So when you're a memorial, you have that in you. The elect always came back, understanding. Yeah, you might have had one life where you didn't even know the laws because it was prophesied we would fall off. You were in one life. Every one of the members of the elect at one point they were in a life where they did not know the laws, where they may not have been fully keeping the laws. They might have had a botched up way of keeping the law. And then certain brothers in one life, you didn't even keep any laws. You might have just been just like a heathen, basically. You didn't have the name. You worshipped idols, but even with that, you always had some type of light within you, where where others could tell you have a light within you, basically some type of light within you, something different about this man, something different about him. I don't know what it is. You might have kept, you might have kept the beard in your face. And as I keeping the laws, you had the laws without even knowing you had the laws, man. You might have cared a lot about people, and wanting to give them, help them with what you had. And you just might have not been into adultery. You just said, "Fuck that shit. I'm not into that." Spirit, you're just not an adultery committing type of person. And that's class, man. That's class, man. Hey, man, who has more class than the Father Yahweh? That's the class that we got about ourselves through Yahweh. You think of the Passover, it's like, yeah, it's a solemn assembly, but and not to, I hope this doesn't come off wrong, but it's like for ransom. But you think of the lamb, you think of the unleavened bread, you think of the bitter herb, you think of the wine. That's actually what you would call a pretty fancy meal. It's the plain goat, or is it sheep, a lamb, plain lamb with unleavened bread, the bitter herb, the garlic, and the wine. That's. I know when I ate the Passover, each time I eat I feel like it's a fancy dinner. It's a pretty fancy dinner. Even though I do celebrate it with solemn assembly, but I'm just saying, just to praise Yahweh B'Hashem Hashan. That's really a beautiful little dinner set up there, that with, because the Lord has flavor, man, and He has flavor, and He knew what He was doing when He did set that whole dinner up, the Passover dinner. But yeah, just Asalagi for ranting once again. I'm just excited and happy in the spirit, because this is speaking about these things, raises my frequency of vibration, man. So this second Ezra's, I want to get second Ezra 6 in the KJV on down to 22. And suddenly shall the solemn places appear unto, and the four storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Going back to that dream of Keisha and these Jakes and Walgreens. And then I saw fire, and I kept seeing fire, and throughout that whole vision, I just saw fire. But you could see through the fire, and basically it was like some filter, but the filter, and you know those filters, but you could see through them. And basically, it was like one of those, basically. If I'm explaining it correctly, kind of representing chaos, it representing what's coming. No, nobody's safe, and sometimes I don't know if I'm safe enough. But I hope through the Spirit that I'll be in the mercy of the Lord when that time comes. I might not get them, but just quote them. I remember I did couple videos going back when I was speaking about the famine and cannibalism and whatnot, and how you had Elijah, he was fed by the brook, and then the raven. The raven would come bring him bread, and then he would drink from the brook. In the time when he pronounced that a famine and the drought was going to come in, and by his word, the Lord listened to Elijah and fulfilled his what he spoke to happen. He told the Lord to shut the skies from raining, and it got shut down. But he was fed, he was taken care of. He didn't know that the Lord was going to come true for him when he before he said that, but he said that believing through faith that he was going to be taken care of regardless, because he was pleasing the Lord. As Paul says, so roughly paraphrasing, the Lord is not in the righteous to forget your labor of love.
She was a critical part of my team that helped the American auto industry come roaring back.
So yeah, man, this is what's coming. Trump keeps on bringing out all these statements going into fucking up Iran. You had a couple, I think it was last year, early last month. Yeah, something called the Operation Bitch Slap that Trump called on Iran. Operation Bitch Slap. Because he kept saying that we're gonna fuck up Iran, and then come to find out, the brother posted it last week, the video, a news clip last week on going into how Iran is fucking them up. Iran's using cheap ass. They got a drone that's all made of wood, so the regulars won't even be able to detect it, and they move pretty slow. But by the time they are close to getting to their target, it's already way too late to even stop the damage. So Iran ain't playing games, man. They figured out a way to move strategically through weapons and making weapons, cheap weapons that cost way less than what America pays for their weapons. Iron, what's it called? The brothers went into how the Iron Dome, and I agree with it too. It's just full of shit. It's just you can't really stop. You can't stop shit, and whatever America says and their news is bullshit. They're just lying to you. So yeah, man, Iran has drones. What's those called? Hashad. Those are Hashad drones that cost like 16,000 to make, shutting down these multi-million-dollar defense systems that Esau has, that America paid for with its military budget, which is one of the biggest, but the highest military budgets out of all countries. U.S. has that. But they're getting their asses beat by Iran, and then how Iran basically shot 6 of their, what's it called, defense missiles, along with the SECOM thing that works with that. They shot those down, and they shot a bunch of their new shit down. A good amount of their new helicopters. They got a couple of their data centers that they have, that their military uses, those centers they say is very important for military warfare. They shot those down. Yeah, man, Iran was talking shit, man, but they were backing it up with facts, man, because yeah, and that just fits right in line with how Esau is gonna be made small. Esau, the Lord, how the Lord said Esau shall be made small among the heathen. Also in Isaiah or Jeremiah, I think it says, I forgot how it goes, but yeah, the Obadiah 1, verse 8. Or even verse 2, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. So Esau is still top number one in military spending, in their military budget spending. And basically, they hide it by not talking about it and by not bringing out the actual facts because they're still biased. But Iran is fucking them up. So yeah, they're being made small among the heathen. This is already happening. If thieves come to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things with Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Yep, his hidden things is his ultimate power he used to have, that they used to boast on so much. With the whole Vietnam War, the whole World War II, prestigious image they used to have. World War One, they won that. Especially after World War II, they don't have that anymore. They really don't have that type of image about them anymore. Verse 7, all the men of that confederacy have brought thee even to the border, and as soon as going to be NATO, their allied partners. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread, and this is falling right in line with Revelation 17 and 16 out of the 10 horns on the beast is going to betray America, the whore, the dragon. Oh, yeah, the dragon's NATO. Basically, it represents the ancient Roman Empire and how that's going to be broken up through the 10 horns betraying the whore and then burning her. And basically, by them doing that, they're also destroying and burning themselves. And it's spiritual because the dragon breathes fire, and that's how they're gonna burn the horde of missiles through the missiles that have fire. The NATO has a couple of missiles. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Shall I not in that day, says Yahweh, shall I even destroy the wise man out of Esau? And under Esau, Esau means wasted away. Edom means red. And understanding out of the mount of Esau. The mount of Esau meaning his power. Because ultimately, when the Lord's done with this devil, he's not going to look like he has understanding. He's not going to look like he has wisdom. And the elect already see that now. The elect already see that now. Even though at times you get in the flesh and you really got to wake up. But for the most part, us the elect, we see this. Lord willing, we're of that number though. But come on, man. Yeah. Yeah, because really, Jake is the one that's gonna. Jake is the last. Esau is the first, but the first shall be last. The last shall be first. Jacob's beginning of that followeth. Esau is the end of the road. This world goes into a government, a cosmos. You had the world. You had the dark, the world of You had the world of Israel back in the time, and you had the world of Esau, with their own governments and their own, and who was on the top of them in that time. Which the nation of Israel in Solomon's time, that was really the golden age. In that time that was our world. When you get the Greeks and you get the Romans, especially when you get the Romans, that was Edom's world. And then you had the Dark Ages. That was our world again. Jake was ruling the Dark Ages. That's why it's called Dark Ages. Then you had Renaissance, and that was Esau once again. Esau came back to his world, his government. That's why they had all those gay ass images. I don't like to use the word gay because gay actually means happy, but you had all those, you know what I mean though. But so you had all those new Renaissance arts that was looked all gay as fuck, and growing man naked, little angels that's butt naked, white angels that's naked. That shit was all Esau's world, and in the Dark Ages you had Jake's world, his own style, his own way, his world, his government, the way he governed things. Yeah, all that goes into the art, the language, the customs, and you can tell when it's Jake's world. You can tell when it's Esau's world, because when Jake's ruling, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, the American Indians, for the most part, all of us as a nation, we are on the top. It's obvious to tell, because when we was on top, you might have had a couple of Edomites that was almost high in a high position that was gonna take it, and they couldn't take it though. And then you had when Esau's ruling, you don't see much Jakes up there, and if they do, they really ain't gonna be up there like that. At least not for too long. And that's how you know the Lord is in control of who's in power, who's not in power. In the hands of the Lord is the prosperity of man, and the kingdoms of man. For the Lord ruleth over the kingdoms of man. Daniel 2 or something like that. Some chapter, I don't know, roughly paraphrasing. So yeah, man, that's really the point. I just want to go into that, just speak on that real briefly. Maybe I'll play a video.
Mr. Thune.
Now the
No.
Okay.
Congratulations, truthers and patriots. The Senate just blocked the National Defense Authorization Act, which means they will not be merging America's military with Israel's military. This is a huge victory for the truthers. They are realizing we're not putting up with this shit anymore. The other piece of good news is now we have 50 senators' names who support Israel more than America. For those of you too young to remember what NDAA is, this was passed right after 9/11, right? And NDAA is 9/11. 5411 is 9/11. Now that we've prevented the merger of our military with Israel's military, maybe we can now undo the merger of Israel and Hollywood, and Israel and Wall Street, and Israel and the Federal Reserve, and Israel and the IRS, and Israel and Congress, and Israel and the Justice Department. So, this is a huge victory. We are not merging our militaries.
So what you see behind me are the 50 Republican senators who voted yes on the NDAA, which would integrate our military with the Israeli military. I'm highlighting this specifically because Ted Budd and Tom Tillis, my two North Carolina senators, voted yes. And I contacted both via phone and email and specifically asked them to vote no on this. I didn't get anything from Budd. However, Tom Tillis' office responded back and basically said, I'm voting yes anyway. So I love that these officials that we elect to represent us in our best interests are basically giving us the middle finger and saying, I don't really give a shit. So, and I can't be the only one. I have to believe I can't be the only one who contacted my senators and told them to vote no. I know a lot of you guys are contacting them regularly.
Major news right now, Senate Democrats have successfully blocked a massive spending package for the United States military, for the United States Pentagon, which also includes that provision many people are talking about regarding the U.S. and Israeli military. So the vote was among party lines, 50 to 46. The vote blocked opening debate on what is called the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act. It's $1.15 trillion in spending for the United States military. The motion needed 60 votes to move forward. There is also the provision that many have been talking about that increased cooperation between the United States and Israeli militaries. That has been blocked by the Senate as well, along with the massive budget for the United States Pentagon. It doesn't mean it's over, far from it actually, but at least today it is not moving forward. The House is still considering the NDAA. They may try to go through other mechanisms, but Senate Democrats have successfully put a stop to it, at least for now.
It's lucky for the audio. Once again, I don't know why the phone does this. It's like playing and then it's another voice repeating like, hey, like type stuff. I don't know. It's a lot of
People are not afraid of you anymore. You can kill Epstein. You can kill whoever you like, but we're not afraid. You can bomb my house. You can kill me with my family, but I'm not afraid of you. I will support the Palestinian people until your regime bombs my home. So go and tell them that. I'm prepared to die for the Palestinian people. But you who used to frequent Epstein Island, you have no principles and no morality. The Iranian people came to the streets in the tens of millions. We all know it. The footage is there. The international journalists were there, not just in Iran, but in Iraq. The Iranian people have spoken whose side they are. People are not afraid of you anymore. You can kill Epstein. You can kill whoever you like, but we're not afraid. You can bomb my house. You can kill me with my family, but I'm not afraid of you. I will support the Palestinian people until your regime bombs my home. So go and tell them that. I'm prepared to die for the Palestinian people. But you who used to frequent Epstein Island, you have no principles and no morality. The Iranian people came to the streets in the tens of millions. We all know it. The footage is there. The international journalists were there, not just in Iran, but in Iraq. The Iranian people have spoken whose side they are.
Democracy. In what European country can elect their own government? We can. We voted for Putin. He is our president. He is one of us.
But this is a caricature of Western government. Of course, these governments are elected. I mean, they will be elected out of their offices. Sure, you will see.
Sure, who has been elected directly? Prime Minister of what country? President of what country has been elected directly?
Come on, this is the constitutional system of this system.
Constitution of what country?
Come on.
Germany. You don't have constitution in Germany. You're not German, so it's not to you. Germany. They don't have constitution. Let me remind you, it has been written by Americans, and they still do not have their constitution. What country? Okay.
My point here is,
what country?
You are a highly intelligent guy. Of course. No, of course.
Fight with me. Tell me. You're not in a position for us to present your point of view. You're not fucking judges. You're not superior.
I agree.
You're just basically no one that built their fortune on Russian affordable natural resources, that lied to us on every single turn of our history. You are the people that brought to us yet another war. You are the people that were always willing to get whatever they can get from Russia for nothing. that suddenly consider themselves to be, oh, we are Europeans, we are superior. In what case we will always beaten your fucking asses? Why at certain moment of history you decided that you can judge us? That, well, Russia is not democratic enough. Russia cannot be part of NATO because their standards of understanding freedom is... You've been occupied territory since 1945 by American and British troops. Suddenly decided that you have a voice of your own? With your political structures being raised up by George Soros and others? With people so corrupted that almost every single leader of France spent some time in prison? German leaders that fighting one each other? Ursula von der Leyen, been well known as one of the worst human creatures in terms of stealing money of European taxpayers. Oh, of course, you cannot go into this because that's COVID story. Yeah, that's the story that Europe is not willing to discuss. We have to present our position to you. You're the one who lied to us since 2014 during Minsk agreements. And now, when we're getting truth from Angela Merkel and others saying, yes, we're lying to Russians because we wanted Ukrainians to get back. You're the one that spread NATO to our borders in spite of the fact that you promised Russian government and Soviet government before there will be no one even single step made toward east. And you something telling us, you that could not even find the terrorists that destroyed pipeline, the Nord, whatever, Nord Stream, you not even close to the understanding of what diplomacy is about. That's why we cannot even consider you the part of this game. You basically took advantage of the stupidity of last years of Soviet government, when we were so madly in love with Americans and you, and we thought that, yes, right, we will open ourselves, and you will bring us the light of this knowledge of democracy. And you lied to us.
And maybe I'm tripping, but am I the only one who feel like this world is literally coming to an end? It's almost like I can feel it with my body, with my soul. Like, I don't know, I just feel so detached from the world. I can't explain the way that these last couple months made me feel. And I know people say this every year, oh, the world. No, like I genuinely feel like the world, like the weather been hella weird. Like just my surroundings, just like everything, the environment, the people, like y'all need to get closer to God ASAP. Like yesterday.
What if we're in World War III right now, and we just don't know it yet? During the times of World War I and World War II, they probably knew that it was a major conflict going on, but they didn't call it World War I and World War II until time went on. So we're living in a time where there's a lot of war going on, and I believe a lot of people are naive of what times we're in. And they don't want to call it how it is. World War I ended because America joined the fight. World War II ended because America dropped a nuke on Japan. And what if World War III ends because multiple nations start launching nukes on each other? Basically, nuclear annihilation. Just imagine that.
Guys, I just want your opinion. I'm just curious. Why are humans obsessed with like end of times, end of the world? And every generation or every like phase of life, ever since life started, people always thought this is it. Like this is the end of everything. Like the whole world is gonna go doomed. We're all gonna starve. We're all gonna die, and it just didn't happen yet. It seems like we are all here. I mean, humans are still here, not we. Of course, there were lives lost. But what is your take on this? And considering that now, for this generation, it's capitalism and AI, data centers, robot. So, what's your take?
This is the quickest way to
Friends, sit with me for just a minute. When the inevitable happens with gas pricing, I know that I'm going to lose my job. Now, I already thought it was coming because they're doing a lot of AI stuff. This just accelerated the timeline that I had in my mind. Now, I'm not special because it's going to happen to so many people. And I want us to really think about something, whether we really want to or not. With that increase, food is going to skyrocket as well. We all know this, right? So what do you think happens when people can't get to work, so they lose their jobs? And they can't afford to buy food anymore because they don't have a job. Or they can't afford to buy food anymore because the inflation rate and the cost of it has gone through the roof. We're barely making ends meet now. What do you think people are going to do at that point? Because it's like a lot of people are looking at this and they're saying, well, price is going to go up, and you think life is going to go on, just like it usually does, at least for those that can afford it. But you take those people then that are put in a position that they cannot afford it, and they become extremely desperate. And things will not be normal when you have millions of desperate people. And we really need to sit with that and think about it, because that is going to become our reality. Ron's cutest little Lego video says, we're drowning. We're collapsing, and we are, in real time. We need to sit with that, because there's going to be no normal. There's not going to be a return to normal. We're in a situation that we started for no reason in the Middle East that is going to bring us to our knees. We're dropping now.
So with everything going on in the world and the U.S. specifically, does anyone else feel like something big and bad's going to happen that's going to a lot of people? Because we know that the sick people who are like basically running the world think the world's overpopulated. They want us dead. They think we're useless. So I just feel like something is going to happen. And I have a very hard time with that, because I already have like really bad anxiety, like some OCD, and like an insane fear of death. Like I don't want to die. I want to live a normal life. Like I can't believe that like it's 2026 and like this is the way the world is. Like I genuinely can't even like going to therapy like doesn't even help me. Like all I do is sit all day with this terrible sense of like impending doom. And I honestly can't take it anymore. So I don't know how or what it would be that they would use to like take us out. Everything though is just so terrifying. Everything that's happening. I mean, with things with Iran.
With this, brothers, shalom. I'm just ending here, and just wanted to play a couple clips, anyways. Stay in the fight, stay in the spirit. Shalom.